The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway, 75.
Wow, you thought Biden was bad. Bush here at least spoke the truth, and you couldn't have scripted that any better. But to be honest with you, it's just as hilarious as it is infuriating, because he's highlighting all the horrible things that he has done to another sovereign country, which he has still not faced any repercussions from. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudetsky here of wearechange.org. Joining me is, of course, Atlas, who made a sign in the back there. And there's a lot of crazy news to get into today, especially domestically, as the full military police state might of the United States is going to be looking internally very soon, as DHS is expecting a lot of civil unrest in the next coming days and weeks, even in the metaverse. That's not a joke. What's happening here, we're going to be talking about that, plus all the latest crazy news happening here in the United States, all on this independent media broadcast. There's so much news that we're just going to jump right into it. As, of course, the situation here inside of the United States is getting crazier for a lot of people, as we're dealing with a lot of financial instability. Instability that we've been warning you about, telling you about. It is here, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. This, as according to many financial experts, gas prices still have not reached their highest. They're going to go up higher, as some people in the United States are already paying $34 for chicken wings. Those prices are going to go up not just because of the gas prices. Fertilizer prices are also at their all-time high and are going to get a lot higher. There's electricity shortages, supply chain shortages, baby formula shortages that have led to 2 children in Tennessee being hospitalized because of, as in Washington State, a gas station there ran out of gas, and they're preparing for gas costing as much as $10 a gallon. But don't worry, everything's fine. Some of the smartest, most brilliant minds in this country are working right now at declaring how using the word obesity is a form of racism. I kid you not. Allegedly, the brightest and smartest minds at the University of Illinois in Chicago literally want to ban the word obesity because they say it's a word focused and rooted on racism. It's nice to know that some of the youngest, smartest minds in this country are working towards such nonsense when, of course, we're dealing with an absolutely devastating situation that there might be no going back from. And these people, in their privileged, university, limousine, liberal, flip-flop, Starbucks drinking, yuppie, high castles, are literally lecturing you about letting people be fat. Why? Because of the excuse they use for almost everything right now: racism. You gotta be freaking kidding me. But at least, hey, let's calm down here a little bit. Atlas, I'm sorry. At least that brain dribble nonsense is not as bad as what the government is doing, as of course they're fighting inflation by creating more inflation. Hey, the government literally printed money out of thin air, helping their friends on Wall Street and the big banks and the unaccountable multinational corporations, giving them no bid contracts, blind checks, and of course even bailed them out when they lost money. And now your money's becoming worthless because we overprinted and overspent too much. What's the government's response? Well, the federal government wants to print and spend more money, just like the local government of California that also wants to spend more money to offset them spending too much money. But don't worry, we have politicians like this in charge of the baby formula crisis, which is only one small example of the larger supply chains and economic problems ahead of us. This as the Biden administration finally decided to get off of their dusty old buttocks, and the President of the United States just invoked the Defense Production Act and has ordered the U.S. Pentagon to fly in shipments of baby formula overseas. And in my opinion, this is still better than nothing, but all of this is a result of the government WIC program and their dependence on one corporation for baby formula that has stopped production because of a contamination effort, which essentially has highlighted the fault in yet the government bureaucracy that has once again failed us and created this major problem with their dependency on just one corporation that, of course, most likely is connected to the friends of politicians that implemented this policy. And when we look at just this problem alone, it is one wound of many wounds that you cannot just keep covering up by flying in supplies from other countries. As of course, I think it's very fair to say that the policies are only going to be made that much worse under the Biden administration's Build Back Better plan, which you're already feeling the larger ramifications of, which essentially is connected to the UN 2030 vision, connected to the Davos Group, the World Economic Forum, their Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which essentially means the enslavement of future humanity. We talked about that in great detail in yesterday's LukeUncensored.com video, where we specifically highlighted the future Fourth Industrial Revolution, the technocratic dichotomy that is becoming more and more unavoidable, the reality that we're going to be facing. We covered that in yesterday's video. In today's video, which is only available for members, we are going to be talking about the leopard pox, the monkeypox, the Jeffrey Epstein's friend pox, as of course yet another promise by this man has come true. And now we're seeing a lot of fear-mongering surrounding monkeypox. What's going on here? What did this man say? What did he do? How did he predict all of this? Well, we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more later on today after this video on LukeUncensored.com. Literally, as soon as this video comes out to the general public, your video is released on our own private platform where we get to say and do whatever we want without the fear of censorship, getting into some real information that sadly we cannot get into here. That video is going to be available only exclusively on LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Sign up right now, as of course we have a lot of exciting things to offer you here on our own platform, moving away from big tech social media, where literally young women are finding themselves hunting down workers at Instagram in order to get their accounts back. We're just going to continue on with the next story because this is a bombshell story highlighting the amount of inequality and new technocratic caste system that we're living under, as one young woman on a podcast just recently described how she used her body in, let's just say, adult ways to find employees on LinkedIn of a big tech social media platform in order to get her account back. Yes, this is where we are right now in our society. This is where we are headed, where literally women give their bodies just to have their accounts not deleted on big tech social media. In my opinion, that's a little bit of an unfair society that we're headed towards too, and this could be why the federal government has been so aggressively trying to get control of big tech social media with their latest efforts of the Ministry of Truth, a Homeland Security Governance Board, which luckily failed because of all the memes and public ridicule. Yes, I think this is the first time that memes, that people criticizing a very partisan government official have led to a situation where the Department of Homeland Security dropped and did not implement a major board of its office because of the pure ridiculousness and reaction from the general public surrounding this notion that Homeland Security would control information to the point of deciding what is true and not true on the internet. Right now, it's unaccountable multinational corporations deciding what is truth and not in favor for, of course, all their friends. The government just wants them to do it. And then, of course, there's Elon Musk that has a crazy idea of allowing free speech, and in response to all of this, he's being heavily attacked. He even wrote about this a few days ago, talking about that if he dies in a mysterious circumstance, that it was nice knowing everyone, reiterating that it wasn't really a joke. A couple hours ago, he just tweeted that political attacks on him will, quote, escalate dramatically in the coming months. This is, of course, shortly after he just described how he is going to be voting Republican in the next upcoming election. And as we mentioned before, when you, of course, expose how the corporate media was covering up and hiding a larger international extortion child operation, you, of course, are going to create some enemies for yourself. Elon Musk has done that by sending a lot of important counter messages out there, specifically when it comes to the heinous activities of the ruling elites, the corporate media, and how we are significantly underpopulated and going to a very serious crisis of civilizations because not enough people are having babies. So yeah, with statements like that, expect to, of course, create some enemies, as, of course, Tesla has just announced to be kicked out of the S&P 500 ESG index because of some allegations against them, even though they are an electric car company. It's important to note here that the ESG, Environmental Social Governance score, has other companies, Saudi Arabian gas companies, ranked very high on their list of companies that should get establishment money. Tesla was just kicked out, which is ridiculous since, of course, the ESG score has been used as a woke indoctrination scoreboard that has pushed the larger divide and conquer agenda, and with tensions at an all-time high on domestic issues, with financial calamity and insecurity when it comes to people's ability to be able to live, to feed themselves, to live, to pay for rent, to pay for gas. I think it's fair to say that we are headed towards a very tumultuous summer that is going to be filled with some civil unrest in one form or another. We saw it just a few years ago with the BLM riots, and I think there's a big potential to see more of that this coming summer. And it's not just me saying that and warning you about this for a couple weeks now. It's also the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, that itself is bracing with local law enforcement all throughout the United States, specifically in Democratic-heavy states where this Supreme Court decision won't have an impact in, where a lot of people are expecting the civil unrest to start in. This, as there's an official memo going around DHS warning that violence could come from either the left or right side, the pro-choice or pro-life side. All of this as the DHS is expected to have beefed up operations domestically here in the United States, as a recent House bill just passed that will create domestic terrorism offices all throughout the United States, specifically linking up the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the FBI, which would focus their efforts looking at internal potential problems inside of the United States coming from inside of its own population. This bill that would localize these intelligence agencies here domestically inside of the United States just passed Congress. Will it pass the Senate? Will it be signed by the president? We, of course, will be keeping a close eye on it, as, of course, this empowerment of the national security state will, of course, be politicized and used, most likely for the political benefit of the party in charge of it. All of this is happening as even the U.S. military is expanding into the metaverse, starting to use augmented reality, 3D simulations, and virtual environments, along with artificial intelligence, more and more when it comes to their basic training of military soldiers, the use of equipment, and real-life simulations of dogfights and other role-playing exercises. Is the U.S. military going to invade the metaverse? Well, there's some people saying that they created it from the very beginning, especially when you look at DARPA, especially when you look at the larger intelligence agencies and their helping and their creation and their fomenting of the current online social media platforms that we are all interacting with, whether we like it or not, every single day. Yeah, so just throwing my 2 cents out there. That's my perspective. This is what I saw as important today. If you thought I missed a story, or if you thought I got a story wrong, let me know what that was down in the comment section below. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, but just know we are striving and doing our best here to provide you the most up-to-date and important information that we could provide you. I got a lot more to say, especially about the monkeypox and all this other craziness, which I'm going to be, of course, talking about on lukeuncensored.com. Watch that video right now by just clicking the link down in the description below, following through, signing up, and being able to get the plethora of master classes, official merchandise that you can only get as members, and, of course, videos that are out there for you every single day, which I am focusing more of my attention on and working very hard to create the best content that I can for you. If you thought I did an okay job with this video, share it with your friends and family members. It means the world to me that you do, and it allows us to grow as a free and independent media organization. Me and Atlas wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why we love you. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.